Oh, hey guys. I kind of briefly talked about this in my last video, and I figured I'd go a little bit more into, actual detail what happened instead of just a TLDR, because this should just piss off more than just truckers. This should piss off everybody, because this is just too easily for this to happen to other people. And granted, the dollar amount would be less, but the fact that Werner literally did nothing wrong except for maybe a couple minor things. Maybe, depending on how you feel. But legality, they really did nothing wrong. But yet the verdict was ruled against them. And that'll make sense soon. But this could easily happen to you. Easily. Alright, so let's get into this, okay? Now this happened back, in 2014? So, these verdicts take some time, especially with these high dollar amounts of lawyers going back and forth. And this did actually go into court. I bet you this gets appealed again. This happened down in Texas. Alright, so this incident happened back on December 14th, 2014. So during winter. This family was traveling, the Blakes were traveling eastbound on I-20 in Texas in a pickup truck driven by Zaragoza from Salinas. Wait, Zaragoza, Salinas. Right. Weather conditions began to worsen, coating the windshield of the pickup truck. They were traveling with ice. Okay, so it's icy. Okay, it's wintertime. It does happen in Texas. It's rare, but it does happen. They were traveling 50 to 60 miles an hour when a car out of them began to fishtail. Salinas lost control and careened across the grass median. Salinas, remember this detail. Salinas lost control and went across the median, entering westbound lanes. So they lost traction, went through the median into oncoming traffic. At this time, Shariza Ali was driving a truck for Werner going west on I-20. Ali was driving below the speed limit when the pickup began to spin. Also present in the truck was Jeff Ackerman, a more senior Werner driver trainer. Ali quickly reacted within a half a second, hitting the brakes, so he was not distracted. That is immediate response and not being distracted. Even the Blake's expert witness conceded that Ali's reaction was very quick and appropriate to the conditions. So all this so far, right? You're wondering, how did Werner get this verdict? Like, how did Werner get the ruling against him? During the trial, it was revealed that westbound I-20 was not slick. So eastbound was slick, 20 was not slick. More craziness, right? I-20 was not slick like eastbound lanes due to heavier traffic, melting the ice with friction and heat. With the crash reducing traffic and weather conditions worsening, some areas of westbound lanes became icy. Some. So a little bit. But it wasn't slick. It was slick in spots. Regardless, the Texas DOT felt conditions were safe enough to keep the interstate open. Witnesses stated that even though they felt no one should have been driving on I-20 that day, they did not fault Ali for the crash. Although that's another thing. It's like, the roads are open, so obviously people think you should be on the roads, but witnesses, meaning they were on the road, say nobody should have been driving that day. Kind of ironic. In addition, Salinas make a statement suggesting guilt and responsibility. A Texas DOP, so a trooper, defended Ali's actions. A 17-year-old veteran trooper who investigated the accident concluded that this is truly an accident. Ali did not do anything wrong. So that's 17-year-old veteran trooper saying Werner did literally nothing wrong. And there was nothing Ali could have done to avoid the collision. A higher ranking trooper even approved this report. So he even seconded it. Now this is what fucked Werner is the speculations of the what ifs. The what ifs. When it comes to legality, there is just facts. This is what happened. The what ifs don't fucking matter. They don't fucking matter, okay? They don't matter. Lawyers will tell you this all day. When it comes the what ifs do not matter in this case if they don't actually happen. According to court documents, the Blakes based their case on the theory that the perpetrators, the family who started this whole thing, right? Based their case on the theory that Ali, who received substantial training, was a licensed CDL driver, right? Should have not been on I-20 that day despite it remaining open. So the road's open, but that driver should not have been on it, even though westbound wasn't slick, eastbound was. This was argued while successfully objecting to evidence that Salinas lacked. There we go. Objecting to evidence that Salinas lacked a valid driver's license. So the pickup driver who lost traction, went across the median, hit the Werner guy, didn't even have a driver's license. So if anything, the what ifs, the accident never would have happened if the pickup guy was literally never on the road. So, I mean, it's funny how only what ifs apply for one side, but not the other side. The manual, okay, so the theory was based on Texas CDL manual that discusses slippery surfaces, which Texas is absolutely absurd with this. The manual requires commercial drivers to match their speed to the road surface to ensure they are able to maintain traction and visibility. Okay, but it seems like Werner did that. You know, Ali, the driver from Werner, did that. He didn't have traction issues. But the Blakes flipped the purpose of this section, so pretty much the Blakes cherry-picked this to fit their argument, claiming it was designed to protect non-CDL drivers like them who might lose control and collide with commercial drivers. You see this shit? How the hell, like, you're in the wrong, but you're right. Like, how does this work? Like, how are you the perpetrator but somehow the victim here? The Blakes' argument was backed by an expert with no legal or regulatory experience and no employment in trucking for 30 years. How is he an expert then? How is this a fucking expert? Backed by an expert with no legal or regulatory experience with no employment in trucking 30 years. That's an expert? Guys, call me to the stands. I'll be your witness. I got no experience. I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. I'll be your expert, though. The expert claimed that truckers should drive. This is how nonsense is. The expert claimed that truckers should drive at around 15 miles an hour and immediately stop driving when possible whenever ice is present on the road, regardless of traction and visibility. So if we listen to this guy, in the winter, you guys would never have anything on the stores. There would literally be nothing. Do you know how often a lot of the West has snow on the ground? You would never get shit. You also can't fly it in, because then even if you flown it in, trucks still got to go get it from the airport and take it to the town or whatever, because not everybody has an airport. So you'd never get anything. But this is an expert that hasn't done anything in 30 years. Now this is even when it gets even more crazy. 2 weeks before his collision with the Blake's vehicle, Ali received this. Oh, shit. Technical difficulties. Ali received the second lowest possible score of an evaluation from a Werner supervisor, an 8 out of 21. Doesn't tell you what, their prerequisites or requirements, nothing. There's no, like, okay, what's the test? So it's just, you can only speculate off that. But, like, fun fact, did you know in the CDL book, you're pretty much told you should be checking your mirrors like every 4 seconds? At a certain point, like, nobody really does that. Because that's a lot of turning your head and a lot of just focus off what's in front of you. And a lot can happen in those 4 seconds, too. So, it could be something as stupid as that on the list, right? Where it's like, oh, like, this is one of the safety thingies, and he didn't do it, so there's some points deducted. Ali knew he was driving in freezing rain. There was black ice at the scene of Lee's collision with the Blakes. It was like a skating rink. But hold on. Time out. It just said westbound wasn't slick, and it was only slick in spots. So eastbound must have been slick like that. But eastbound doesn't affect westbound. Like you can't predict somebody just losing traction, like from the opposite direction, all of a sudden come across the median and just hit you head on. Ali drove past the collision of a trooper. Corey Vanderwilt was working 4.5 minutes before he collided with the police vehicle, so he just passed an accident. Uh, does this say? Okay. Well, this article doesn't tell you how fast Blake or Ali was going. Ali was going about 43 to 50. Like he was in that range. Or not. He was going slower than the pickup guy was. The pickup, remember, he was going 50 to 60, and the trucker was going 43 to 50. So he was already going under the speed limit and under the pickup that lost traction. This doesn't tell you the speed. Actually, it does. It does. We'll get to that. I just missed it. I saw another article. It's not the article I read when I first talked about this, so it does. We'll get to that in a minute. Officer Chad Matlock testified that he traveled to the side of Ali's collision with the Blake's vehicle westbound on I-20, recalled with 100% certainty that the roads were icy. Well, time out. There is so misconflicting information here, where you got like witnesses saying westbound was fine with spots of ice. Then you got this trooper who was one of like the three that said it wasn't icy, and then this guy saying it is icy. So it's funny how people's like what people's like opinion on what is icy and what isn't icy varies from person to person. It's like it's absurd. And I have this issue too. Like a lot of people say, "Oh my God, it's slicker than shit out there," and I'm like, "Oh, this is not bad at all." James Wampler, a local tow truck driver, was driving between 10 to 15 miles an hour on I-20 that day due to the weather conditions. Despite these conditions, Ali was driving his vehicle, his 18-wheel, at approximately 43 miles an hour at the time of the collision with the Blakes. And see, that's another thing. Is like the pickup guy was going 50 to 60. The trucker was going 43 to 43 at the time of collision. I bet you the trooper was not doing 10 to 15. You get the tow guy doing 10 to 15. So I was like, there is so much variance in speed here too. It's like everybody's opinion what's icy and what isn't. It's just crazy. And they got experts over here. I haven't done nothing in 30 years, but I know what I'm talking about. Ali's Werner supervisor, who was in the truck with him, was asleep at the time of collision. Now, this doesn't say if he was a trainee or if he was team or what. Doesn't say. It doesn't say. There's some companies out there that if you're being trained only, because I mean at a certain point this job becomes so like autonomous at a certain point. Like the driving part's the easiest part, right? But like they're like the trainer must be in the front seat in the passenger seat, right? While the trainee's driving for like a week or 2 weeks, and then the guy can be on his own and you can sleep, right? Because I mean, people need sleep. So it doesn't really specify that. So I don't like. It's hard to tell. Like, is this guy was he a fresh recruit, or was he or was he a bit into it? Werner's director of safety testified even with the low scores, Ali had a commercial driver's license in the state of Texas, so he could drive a truck by himself without anybody in it. Because technically he did have a license, right? It wasn't a permit, it was a license. So he could drive the truck by himself. But it wasn't by himself. There was at least 10 truck stops at which Ali could have stopped between Midland and Odessa, which doesn't fucking matter. The roads were open. And it wasn't slick to that point, westbound. So, it's just hilarious. The amount of what is, the speculations in this. Now, this is the most bullshit thing ever. I don't know what Texas is thinking about this. This is how you really create accidents. Section 2.6.2 in Texas CDL manual instructs, which by the way, manual means just it's not law, right? It's not a law. It's just like a handbook, like guidance and stuff, like how to get your CDLs. All this is. The manual is just more about how to get your CDL and how to operate safely. It is not by law. It is not a fucking law book. It instructs drivers to reduce their speed to a crawl, and they define a crawl in the truck industry means 10 to 15 miles per hour when roads are icy. Fucking absurd. Because you think any of those cars would be doing 10 to 15? No. No. Not what fucking one bit. All that's going to do, by the way, because you know why these accidents happen? A lot of variance in speed. And if you're, like, let's just say this. If you got, like, 7 cars doing, let's just say 45, right? And all of a sudden they come on a couple of trucks doing 10 to 15. There's a drastic spike in chance that all of a sudden something's going to happen. There's a massive difference in speed. Massive difference. Remember I said in the last video, if you're only able to do half the speed of what the general public is doing around you, you should probably park it because you are a major liability out there. So 4 years after this incident, July 2018, a jury found Werner 70% liable. Ali, the solo driver, 14% liable, and Selena, the fucking the driver of the pickup with not a valid license, no license, only 60% liable. Fucking absurd. The district court judge signed off on the jury award of nearly $90 million. After interest, Werner owes nearly $92 million, while Ali owes nearly $13 million. So the fucking driver, Ali, who also, by the way, had 2 troopers say he did nothing wrong, owes nearly $13 million. Absurd. Yeah, Werner appealed the decision, which he should constantly appeal this thing. If I was Werner, I would constantly keep this thing tied in the court. Because this is fucking absurd. This should not be allowed. This is setting a precedence that should never be allowed. It argued that there is not enough evidence, my tongue doesn't want to cooperate, supporting that Aaliyah Werner proximately caused the crash, especially anything that happened at the company's years prior. Werner also argued that by affirming the decision, Texas motorists who drive lawfully below the speed limit can be liable for a crash involving a motorist on the other side of the highway who loses control of his vehicle, or his or her vehicle, through their own fault. Like I said, I'm not even a fucking lawyer, but I already knew that could be that is setting a precedence for that shit. Like, that is no, like, this is put this in another perspective. Take truckers out of this, right? Take vehicles out of this. This is a whole common sense argument, right? Which you think it would be common sense. I break into your home, you shoot me, I sue you for you shooting me. But yet I broke into your home. I caused the issue. I was at fault. You did nothing wrong. Like, do you know how absurd that is? This is the same thing. You're setting a precedence for the victim. They claim, for the perpetrator to claim victimization and to sue you when, in this case, dude had no fucking driver's license. He caused the crash. They don't tell you in this, by the way. Oh, it did. Okay, I just skipped over it. It did kill one child and left another quadriplegic. Now, that is sad. I don't know how I missed that. That is important detail. So 7-year-old kid was killed, and the 12-year-old became a quadriplegic. I did somehow miss that, because that was like this part right here. And I started reading this. Okay. So it is sad. A kid died, okay? Nobody wants to see anybody die. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like that. Like, we should have empathy for the family being destroyed, okay? It does suck. But the only person to blame here, I'm assuming the father. The driver of the pickup. That person. They had no license. They were obviously going too fast for their skills. And obviously the person that was in front of them that lost traction, and the pickup driver, Salinas, was reacted to, also was going too fast for their skills. But that pickup driver, who knew they didn't have a license, wasn't on the road, this never would have happened. Their son would be alive, or the boy would be alive, and the girl would not be a quadriplegic. It's sad, but that is the reality of this case. But this is fucking absolutely absurd. And I hope everybody can agree with me on this one, that this case is just ridiculous. And when I say truckers are targeted, and it's like everybody is out to get truckers, this is exactly what I mean. This is like one of many, many, many upon more such like just examples where it's just like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But anyways, guys, what do you think? Post it in the comments. What do you think of this shenanigans? Anyways, catch you guys next time. Stay safe out there. Bye.